Irisviel was letting out a smile as she was cleaning out her room. Alright, now I need to clean some of the corners of the room along with adding some furniture, and then my consultation room will be complete, she thought happily. As she was cleaning up her room, Kiritsugu, who was in the room with her, was carrying some boxes around. Hey Iri, where do I put these? Kiritsugu asked. Put them over there. And don't worry, I'll unpack them later. Irisviel replied as she pointed at a corner of the room. Kiritsugu then headed towards the corner where Irisviel pointed earlier. Alright, that should be it for now, she said. Kiritsugu let out a small sigh. But seriously Iri, are you actually going to do this? Why not Kiritsugu? Irisviel asked. I mean, you suddenly want to be a consoler and ask Da Vinci a room for this. I mean, no offense, but I don't think this is in your field of expertise, and plus, you're not a doctor or have any medical experience. Irisviel let out a giggle. Relax Kiritsugu. I'm just going to help people with their problems by talking to them. I mean, how hard can it be, she said as she went back to cleaning the room. Meanwhile, Kiritsugu was having thoughts about this. Well, at least it can't be bad than the time she was behind the wheel of cars. I mean, when Iri's behind the wheel, it's a one-way ticket to hell, complete with sudden turns that can make you throw up, sudden brakes that can make the person in the back seat fall forward, and a lot more. It's a wonder that the law hasn't caught up to her yet. Kiritsugu thought as he remembered the times Irisviel was driving. As he looked at the room, he noticed that there were security cameras on the ceiling. Hey Iri, what's with the cameras in the room? Those security cameras are there to make sure nothing bad happens to me. After all, some of the servants here can be pretty scary. Fair enough. Anyways, Irisviel's consultation room is now open. Alright Arturia, can you tell me what kind of problems you are having right now? Irisviel asked Arturia, who was sitting on a nearby couch, while Irisviel was sitting on a chair. Arturia let out a small sigh. Gilgamesh. Which one? The Archer version. Irisviel said as she was jolting down some notes on her clipboard. And how is he causing you any troubles? Arturia sighed again, this time the sigh was a deeper one before she started to rant. He keeps following me wherever I go along with my counterparts. I swear, it's like he's a stalker. Not only that, but I also told him that I'm not interested in him, and yet he keeps asking me to marry him without any question. What's more, he keeps doing this every single time. I know he's really stubborn and arrogant, but this is taking things too far, she yelled. Irisviel didn't say anything as she waited for Arturia to calm down from her ranting. Alright. Are you feeling a bit better now that you got that out of your system? Yeah. It embarrasses me to say this, but I feel much better now, Arturia replied. Anyways, even after Shirou arrived here, Gilgamesh still asks me to marry him. I see, that is a problem, you seem to have quite the stalker here. Indeed Irisviel. Irisviel then stopped writing on her clipboard and placed it down on her knees. Arturia, have you tried anything to get away from him? Arturia let out a long sigh. Yeah. I've rejected him many times, ran away from him, made some excuses just to get away from him, and so much more. And yet, he persists. What should I do in this situation? For a moment, Irisviel stayed silent as she was coming up with some ideas that could help Arturia deal with her problem with the King of Heroes. Eventually, she let out a sigh as she couldn't come up with a solution to her problem. Well, I'm sorry Saber, but I can't think of any solutions about your problem. I see. Arturia said with a sigh. Well, at least I gave it a try at least. Yeah. Anyways, are there any other problems you've been having lately? Irisviel asked as she picked up her clipboard. Well, there is one small problem I've been having about Shirou lately. Did you two have a fight or something? Well, no. Rather, it's the amount of attention he's been receiving. At that moment, Irisviel let out a small smirk. Tell me. Well, ever since Shirou arrived in Chaldea, he's been attracting people left and right a lot. Not to mention the fact that most of the people he's been attracting are girls. I mean, I can sort of accept Rin and her counterparts, Sakura and her counterparts, Ilia and her counterparts, Miyu, Astria, and my counterparts, but I can't believe Nero and her counterparts, Okida's altered counterpart, and Musashi fell for him as well. And I'm starting to think that Jin's altered counterpart and Okida are starting to fall for him as well. And in a short amount of time, Irisviel let out a chuckle. You can say that again. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Shirou fan club consisting of girls, she said jokingly. Arturia quickly turned her head towards Irisviel. Please don't say that. Anyways, what should I do? Well, there's one way to solve this problem of yours. And what would that be? Irisviel's smirk grew even bigger. Simple, take the initiative and kiss him, and it has to be on the lips. But I've already done that before. That's the thing. You have to do it, in front of everyone. At that moment, Arturia's face went red. In front of everyone? Yeah. Think about it. If you kiss him on the lips right in front of everyone, it shows that he belongs to you. Well, what do you think? After all, the queen belongs to the king, remember? Arturia then gave Irisviel's choice of a solution some thought. While I think it's embarrassing, you do have a point there, Irisviel. A king's duty is to protect the queen, and I need to fulfill my duty. Arturia then got off from the couch. Thank you, Irisviel. Irisviel let out a smile. No problem, Saber. And then he has the nerve to laugh in my face after insulting me. A goddess. Ishtar ranted. Irisviel let out a small sigh. Which is why you shot him in the face with a gem. Exactly. Irisviel let out another sigh. Honestly, I'm not sure what to say about the situation you got yourself into, Ishtar. I mean, no offense, but you did start doing actual damage to Chaldea, which got you into trouble afterwards. Well, yeah, but he started first. Ishtar argued. That doesn't give you the right to start shooting gems all over the hallway, you know. You could have just ignored him. Otherwise, Master wouldn't have been this mad at you. Ishtar let out a pout. Geez, you don't have to mention that. She said as she remembered the angry face Ritsuka was wearing during that incident. Irisviel let out a small sigh. Anyways, I know this is impossible for the both of you, but can you get along with him? Ishtar shook her head furiously. Sorry, but his existence irritates me to no end. Every time when I see that face of his, it pisses me off, she yelled before calming down. So yeah, there's no making up between us two. Well, at least try to ignore him for now on. Like what Shirou does sometimes. Yeah, speaking of which, it's a wonder how Emiya actually managed to keep his composure around him, considering about Goldie's feelings towards Saber and her counterparts. You can say that again. Saber was here a while ago, and she ranted about her problem with Gilgamesh as well, Irisviel said as she remembered Arturia's rants towards Gilgamesh. Yeah. I can imagine that. For a moment, Ishtar and Irisviel were silent in the room until Ishtar continued the conversation. You know what's funny? What? I didn't expect Emiya to come here of all places. And furthermore, he's strong enough to kick Goldie's ass. I mean, before, he was just a third-rate magus who only knows projection and reinforcement. Now, he's able to take on other magi, dead apostle ancestors, and even an evil immortal interdimensional space god that can control the Akashic records from another universe. That's too crazy, even for me. And I'm still having a hard time believing it. I mean, Emiya Shirou may be a reckless idiot, but that's too reckless, even by my standards. Irisviel let out a giggle. I know, right? Exactly. While I'm surprised that Emiya Shirou can kick Goldie's ass, it is so satisfying to see it happen, like what happened a year ago. Ah yes, that event where all of us saw Shirou's noble phantasms for the first time. Speaking of which, were you shocked upon finding out that Shirou and the Red Archer known as Emiya are the same person? Shocked? Huh. That's an understatement. And Ishtar continued to rant for the rest of the session. Why am I here, Irisviel-san? And what is this place? Parvati asked. Well, this is my consultation room, and I'm here to ask you about any problems that you are dealing with right now, Irisviel replied with a smile on her face. I see, but I think I don't have any problems right now. Really? Even though you were told to come here by that purple-haired friend of yours? Yeah. No worries that comes in your mind? Well, there is a small thing that I am worried about. Irisviel let out a small smirk. Well, what is it? Parvati let out a small sigh. Senpai's safety. Shirou's safety? What do you mean by that? Well, it's like this. You see, ever since Senpai arrived in Chaldea, I've been worried about his safety. You see, every time whenever Senpai leaves for a singularity, I'm worried that he'll never come back one day. Not only that, but he still overworks himself sometimes, like how he would in the past. I see. Irisviel said as she was writing down on her clipboard. Anything else? Nope. That's all I know of. Okay, so you're worried that Shirou might die sometime in the future if he continues to act like this? Yes. Irisviel let out a small sigh. Parvati, I can understand why you're worried, but let me tell you this. Shirou's going to be fine. Are you sure? Yeah. I mean, he took on many things that are deemed impossible to beat, and he managed to stay alive afterwards. It was only old age that caught up to him. In short, you're just overthinking things. Parvati thought about Irisviel's words and realized that she was right. You're right, Irisviel-san. I may be overthinking things for a bit. Thank you for helping me. No problem. Alright, Ilia-chan, what seems to annoy you so much that you came to Mama's consultation room? Irisviel asked sweetly to her daughter. Ilia let out a huge sigh. It's the attention Oniai-chan's been receiving. She muttered softly. What was that? I can't hear you. Ilia was silent for a moment before repeating her sentence. It's the attention Oniai-chan's been receiving, she said a little louder than before. I can't hear you. Irisviel said as she couldn't hear the sentence she was saying. At that moment, Ilia let it all out. It's the attention Oniai-chan's been receiving, she yelled. Irisviel let out a small sigh. Oh boy, this topic again. I swear, ever since Oniai-chan arrived here in Chaldea, he's been getting attention from other girls. Back in my world, it was Rin-san and Livia-san that fell in love with him. I thought that was crazy, but now, it's even crazier than before. Not only Rin-san has counterparts that have the same feelings as her, but the King of Knights and her counterparts, Sakura and her counterparts, the Emperor of Rome and her counterparts, Jeanne d'Arc's altered sister, Okita Tsuji and her counterpart, and Musashi got his attention as well. Is Oniai-chan a Casanova or what? Ilia ranted. Irisviel let out a chuckle. Ilia, he's not being a Casanova. How so? Because he's really dense. He has no clue about it either as well. Emiya deadpanned at Irisviel's answer. You're kidding. Nope. Emiya let out a sigh. Mama, what do I do? At this point, one of the girls will take him away from me, Kuro, Saitonai, and Miyu. For once, Irisviel didn't have an answer to that question. Well, Emiya, to be honest, I don't think I have an answer to that question. Eh? Why? Well, judging from what you just told me, this is something that Shirou needs to deal with on his own. It's not your place to get yourself into it. Sorry, Emiya-chan. Emiya let out a small sigh. I see, well, at least I gave it a try. Thanks, Mama. No problem. And get this, Irisviel. That useless goddess has the nerve to shoot a gem at me. And in a barbaric way as well. Astria ranted. Yeah. So, what happened next? Well, I wanted payback at that useless goddess by shooting a gem back at her, and it ended up in a fight. And it ended when Master saw the damages and yelled at us. It also didn't help that Waver was there at the time, so we ended up getting scolded by him as well. Irisviel continued to write down Astria's words on her clipboard. Wow. It's like a repeat of Ishtar's case. Well, instead of Astria, she had to deal with Gilgamesh. She thought as she put her clipboard aside. Okay. Now here's the question that's been on my mind for quite a while. What's the story between you and Ishtar? Just why do you two always fight with each other? And does issue applies to her writer counterpart and Ereshkigal? Astria let out a sigh. To be honest, she just irks me most of the time, and that includes her writer counterpart as well. Oh? So, you don't have a problem with Ereshkigal then? Nope. Unlike that useless goddess and her counterpart, I like Ereshkigal a lot more than them. Anyways, that useless goddess and her writer counterpart just irks me. That is all. Really? She irks you enough for you two to start a fight against each other? That's childish, you know. Astria blushed embarrassingly after hearing Irisviel's words. Why, you don't have to remind me. Anyways, there's something else that's bothering me. HM? What is it? Astria sighed again. I'm worried is that useless goddess is going to abuse Shirou's projection to get more jewels. Irisviel raised an eyebrow. What makes you think that? At that moment, Astria started to rant again. I just have a bad feeling that when one day, that useless goddess is going to think of some diabolical plan to abuse Shirou's magecraft to receive an endless supply of gems. Whenever I think about that, it makes my heart and stomach hurl. I can't let that happen. He must be protected at all costs from that useless goddess. Irisviel let out a chuckle. Wow. This is going to be interesting. I find it weird that I should be in a consultation room when there's nothing wrong with me. Nero proudly said. Irisviel let out a sigh. Nero, Master told you to come here because of a problem that you've been having lately. Huh? And what would that problem be? Well, for starters, we've been receiving complaints about you, well, decorating some of the rooms without permission. Irisviel said. Really? They should be grateful that the rooms are being decorated under my directions. Irisviel let out a sigh. Listen, if you're going to decorate the rooms here, make sure to ask permission first, especially Master's. Okay? Well, if it's for my praetor's sake, then I will ask permission first. Irisviel let out a sigh of relief. By the way, can I ask you something? Sure. What is it? Well, why is it that whenever I sing, everyone around me runs away? First, my singing is flawless, so nobody should have any excuse to run away from me. And yet, people run away. Even my praetor does that whenever I sing. Why? Irisviel let out a small sweat drop. Nero, sorry to say this, but your singing sucks. For a moment, Nero was silent upon hearing Irisviel's words, before continuing the conversation. Huh? That's impossible. My singing is the best. Nero denied. Well, Nero. Sadly, but it's the truth. No, it can't be. You must be joking. Sadly, I'm not. In fact, let me show you something, Irisviel said as she brought out a recording device. As she did, she then played it, which had a recording of Nero's singing, and then immediately covered her ears. The recording soon ended. See what I mean? For once in her lifetime, Nero was completely shocked. Wow, I did not know this. Exactly. For a moment, both Irisviel and Nero were silent. This lasted for a few seconds until Nero continued the conversation. So, what should I do? Well, it's quite simple, Irisviel said as she handed her a pamphlet. As Nero grabbed it, she looked at it, and nearly dropped her jaw upon seeing the front cover. It was singing lessons. Take these classes, and your singing will get better. Jean Dark Alter let out a groan as she was sitting on the couch. TCH, I can't believe that Holy Saint actually signed me up for this, and she actually came along as well. Irisviel was holding her clipboard, ready for today's session. Alright. Jean Dark Alter, do you two know why both of you are here? She asked. I don't know, Jean Dark Alter said. Oh, come on. Didn't I bring you here just to solve your problems with me? Jean Dark asked sweetly. Huh? My problems? Don't you mean you forced your ideas onto me, which I don't like in general? Alright, please settle down, Irisviel said as she tapped her clipboard, grabbing the Saint and Dragon Witch's attention. Now then, what kind of problems are you two facing? It was then that Jean decided to speak up. One problem that I would be dealing with is that my little sister doesn't want to spend time with me. I see. So, Jean Dark Alter, can you tell me why you don't want to spend more time with your older sister? Jean Dark Alter let out a sigh. Okay, first, we're not sisters. She just came up with the idea of me being the little sister. And second, this is the reason why. You always keep dragging me into things that don't interest me. Eh? But I wanted to bond with you as siblings. Jean Dark said. But we're not siblings. I'm your altered counterpart. That's just it. Jean Dark Alter argued. Oh really, then I should change your mind right now. Jean Dark said creepily, making Jean Dark Alter scared for a moment. Alright. Before this gets out of hand, everyone should calm down right now. Irisviel interrupted, hoping to settle things in an orderly way. Jean Dark heard Irisviel's words and quickly composed herself. Sorry, it seems I've lost control of myself for a moment. Anyways, why don't you want to spend time with me and your little sister? Jean Dark Alter let out a small sigh. Didn't you hear me earlier? It's just that you keep dragging me into things that don't interest me. That's just it. I see. Jean Dark said with a sad tone of voice. Hearing the sad tone of voice, Irisviel then turned to Jean Dark Alter with a grumpy look on her face. What? Jean Dark Alter asked. You know, it's not nice to make your counterpart sad like that, right? She asked creepily. Jean Dark Alter felt shivers upon hearing Irisviel's voice. Crap. She's as scary as that saint. Or maybe even worse. Not wanting to look at Irisviel's face any further, she then turned to Jean Dark. Listen, if it makes you happy, just ask me next time when you plan on doing something, and maybe I'll join. Okay? Upon hearing those words, Jean's mood brightened up immediately. Really? She asked enthusiastically. Why yeah. Great. Irisviel let out a sigh of relief as a problem was solved in front of her. Alright. Now that problem is settled, are there any other problems you two want to talk about? Well, how about your feelings of Emiya Shirou? Jean asked her altered counterpart, making her blush immediately. What? What are you talking about? I don't have feelings for him. Jean Dark Alter argued. But I saw you eating his homemade chocolate on White Day. That was because I was hungry. Irisviel let out a small chuckle. Yup. She's definitely a tsundere. Okay, Okita-chan, can you tell me what kind of problems you are facing today? Irisviel asked sweetly. Well, I guess one problem I would be facing right now would be my altered counterpart, Okita replied. Did you two have a fight recently? Okita shook her head. No. We did not have a fight against each other. Rather, I'm worried about her. You sound like a big sister to her. Irisviel cooed. Okita blushed at Irisviel's compliment. Anyways, I'm worried about her because, well, sometimes she can be an airhead. Really? How so? Well, she lacks any sense of her surroundings, she wanders around to anything that interests her, and sometimes she speaks out words without knowing the weight of the words she said. For example, there are the many times when she asked Sango-san for a Muramasa blade, Okita said with a sigh. Irisviel continued to write down on her clipboard. I see, I get what you're talking about. Just let me ask you one question, Okita-chan. Sure. What is it? What kind of servant is your altered counterpart? From what I know from Master, she's a counter-guardian who had her Saint Graph deteriorated. Why? This is probably my guess, but I guess the reason why your altered counterpart acts like you mentioned earlier is because of her Saint Graph. Since her Saint Graph is in a shape such as that, it's possible that also altered her personality as well, making her a newborn in some cases. Really? Yeah. Well, if that's the case, what should I do? Well, how about this? Give her a few lessons on life itself. Teach her some manners if you know what I mean. I see. Thank you, Shirou's mother. Irisviel let out a smile. No problem, and call me Irisviel. Just why am I here again? Musashi asked. Irisviel let out a small sigh. Well, you were ordered to come here under the orders of Master. Master asked me to come here? Yes. Okay, but what is this place? Is it a training room or something? Irisviel let out a chuckle. No. This room is a consultation room. Musashi was confused. Consultation room? What does that mean? Well, think of it as a room of guidance in your terms of words. This is a room where I help servants who have troubles and gives them solutions on how to do it. I see. Musashi said with a smile on her face as she got it. Irisviel let out a small sigh as she got through Musashi. Anyways, we're here because of a problem you've been having lately, Musashi. A problem about me? Is there something wrong with me? Well, no, but Master has been noticing some of your actions lately, and well, wanted me to help you on them. At that moment, Musashi was confused with Irisviel's words. My actions? Let me recall them. Musashi, recently you've been eating udon out of a golden cup, right? Musashi nodded in reply. Yup. Every time whenever I eat udon out of that golden cup, the taste of the udon gets better. And combine that with Shirou-kun's udon, the taste itself is out of this world. It's like heaven in my mouth, she exclaimed excitedly. Yes. However, do you have any idea what that cup is? No. Why? Irisviel sighed again as she was about to break the news to her. Musashi, the golden cup you've been eating your udon out of is a holy grail. At that moment, Musashi's mouth dropped in surprise. Eh? That golden cup is a holy grail? Yes. Musashi stayed silent for a moment as she processed the information in her head. I see, but why is there a problem eating udon from a holy grail? Well, it's just ridiculous, and it's actually causing problems that you didn't even know about. Really? Yeah. In fact, the former director of Chaldea was ranting about it when she found out about it, and she scolded Master for this. I see, so you're telling me that I should stop eating udon out of a holy grail then? Yup. Musashi then took a deep sigh. Alright, I'll stop eating udon out of a holy grail. Excellent. By the way, there's another question I want to ask. Sure. What is it? Irisviel took a deep breath before continuing the conversation. What's with you and little kids? Irisviel let out a small sigh as she was cleaning her room. Phew. This was a bit exhausting, and a little exciting as well. I wish I still had more time at least. Soon, Irisviel was done cleaning up the room and proceeded to leave. As she did, she came across Kiritsugu, who happened to be waiting for her. So, how did it work for you? Kiritsugu asked. Irisviel let out a smile. Oh. Let's just say, it was interesting,